everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Team, and this is still the award-winning Fan Show. Good to see you, everyone. Good to see you. Glad to be back on this Tuesday evening. Always a great way to start the week with the Fan Show, although it's not Monday. Never had a case of the Mondays here on the Fan Show. I think that's why I avoid doing shows on them. And, of course, Friday, you guys are all out doing whatever for your weekend plans, so why even bother? So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is where you can find the latest editions of the Fan Show live. In fact, if you didn't know, FYI. But tonight's episode is another great one. We are stocked, locked, and loaded, assuming everything, of course, goes according to plan. Did a pre-recorded segment with none other than Green Bay's own B.J. Hill. He is an active player this year. He was a 2015 IFL Hall of Fame inductee. Currently leads the league in all-purpose yards at 84. But he's also number 6 on the IFL all-time top 10 list. So great conversation I had with him. Stops number 2 and 3 of the Fan Show Tour 2018 happened this weekend. Back-to-back doubleheader. Oh my goodness, whatever will I do? I did that last year, but one of them was kind of more impromptu than anything. I landed in Chicago and had to go by Bloomington to get to Iowa. Well, I didn't have to, but I did because Amir's my bro, and he was coaching in Bloomington. Anyway, so saw the Bloomington game that night, woke up, drove to Iowa, saw that game the next day. So I've done it before. It's not the most glamorous thing. I don't look my best, usually come stop number 2. But this weekend I will fly into Omaha Friday night. Then I will go to Des Moines, Iowa, or Des Moines. And we will see the Barnstormers take on the Arizona Rattlers. Second time in a row I will see the Rattlers this season. And then the next day, go to Grand Island, Nebraska. Check out the Danger hosting the Green Bay Blizzard. And then the next day I'll fly home at like 6:45 in the friggin' morning. Does not get any easier. But hey, we make it happen. We make it fun. So I've got not one but 2 great guests, B.J. Hill, of course, and then assuming that he gets out of his team meeting on time, I'm going to have to talk to Marvin Jones about that. Connor Hollenbeck of the Cedar Rapids Titans after their game this last week. Them and the Blizzard were the only 2 teams that played in Week 2. Do I really need to do power rankings tomorrow? Yeah, I'm going to do them anyway. I mean, no, I don't, but I'll do them anyway just because it's fun. And then Week 3, though, we have a whole slew of action for you. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into today's headlines.
To their own opinion, but at the end of the day, if you have one hand or 30 hands, you can do anything you set your mind to. Only thing you gotta do is keep pushing and stay away from negativity, because if you let negativity bring you down, that means you're not being the person that you really want to be. And all I know is when I wake up in the morning and I see myself in the mirror, that's the only person that can stop me from doing anything that I want to do. And I tell people all the time, there's nobody else that's going to be in the mirror with you at that point in time. So only person that can stop you is yourself. So I go out there and do it every time. I don't never set limitations on myself.
That was Shaq Griffin. If you don't know that name, then you must not like football, because it has expanded beyond the reach of even the gridiron, because that man is doing extraordinary things. Of course, it would be the year that I completely write off the combine, just because I can't get into it, just what the combine is. He has changed it, though, and I'll tell you why. So I was on Instagram the other day, and I was checking up on what was going on in the NFL with the combine stuff, and there was a quote on the NFL's Instagram from Baker Mayfield, who's another big name out of the combine. Too cocky, not cocky enough, just right, quarterback. Is he shaking off the Manziel stigma or whatever. I don't care. Manziel is different from Mayfield, and I think Mayfield actually has the stuff and the right attitude. I don't think it's cocky. I believe he's confident. But anyway, so the quote is that somebody asked, a reporter, of course, credentialed one for the NFL, go figure, color me shocked, asked, what do you say to those that believe that you maybe aren't tall enough or don't have big enough hands to be a quarterback? And without even hearing his response, which he had a great one, he's like, I think I have like the least amount of deflected passes among all the other prospects, and I've got film you can watch if you don't think that I'm whatever. And so it was a great response. I loved it, but these questions really bug me because it's only due to the fact that the combine is happening, right? What's happening at the combine? You are being weighed, you are being measured, and you are being put to a variety of tests and interviews to see if you are, in fact, what it takes to be at the next level, which I think is silly because what they're weighing, measuring, and testing aren't what you really should be concerned with, which is character, attitude, drive, and heart. But in comes Shaq Griffin. I go onto the comments of this thing because I'm just like, yeah, right, height totally matters. Just ask Drew Brees, who's a 5'9" quarterback, among others like Russell Wilson and, of course, the great Doug Flutie from way back in the day. But anyway, there are shorter quarterbacks, and Drew Brees leads the league like every year in passing. Like he's broken his own season passing records. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, Super Bowl ring, and a guy that everyone will pick up in their fantasy leagues or any team would take in a heartbeat at the quarterback position. And so some troll gets on there and says, exception to the rule. Really? Really? Exception to the rule. And he goes on to say something like, well, of course that kind of stuff matters because, it's talent that gets you where you need to go, or some stupid response. And I said, no, man, like you can't measure what makes a player great. Like height, weight, speed, bench press, none of that really matters when it comes to put up or shut up time. Do you have the drive, the passion, the heart, and talent to get over obstacles and hurdles that life and apparently scouts and whatever else have put in front of you? And it's so fitting that guy laughed at that comment from me. And then we have Shaq Griffin. And why is that such a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen? Because he had one of the single best combine performances that we have ever seen. Not just for his position, but ever. Great 40 time, bench press reps, long jump, high jump, all that. He had one of the best combine performances all around. He has one hand. Let it sink in. He has one hand. He had to use a prosthetic to do the bench press. And he is out there doing the catch drills and everything else, even without the prosthetic hand. And some troll on Instagram is going to tell me that what really matters is your height, your weight, and your speed and everything else. And this dude is out there performing better than a majority of the prospects at this combine with one hand. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, seriously. I love it so much. Shaq Griffin, man, don't go changing. So the 1 year that I don't really pay much attention to the draft is the 1 year that some guy comes in and completely backs up what I've claimed for years. And that is that I think I understand the point of the combine, but I still think it's a little pointless because the one thing that they need to measure with Shaq Griffin is his drive and his heart, which I think showed with everything that he was able to do with one hand. But my God, man, the dude is incredible. Story of this generation for sure. I wish nothing but the best for him. And I scroll through the Twitter and I see the videos of him, and it's unreal. It really is unreal. So point me, or I should say me 1, troll 0. And he'll probably never listen to the show, but I don't really care because he's a stupid douche. But whatever, I'm bitter about it because I don't like getting into arguments on social media. I don't. It's exhausting. It really is. Okay, so anyway, rest of the headlines from around the world of sports is that the NFL went ahead and did its little franchisee taggy thingy, but there's a new thing about it today. Franchise and transition players named. And this was the email notification I got from the NFL. Franchise and transition player designations were announced today for the 2018 NFL free agency signing period, which begins at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, March 14th. A club can designate one franchise player or one transition player among its veteran free agents. The salary offer by a player's club determines whether the franchise player designation is exclusive or non-exclusive. An exclusive franchise player, not free to sign with another club, is offered the greater of A, the average of the top salaries at that player's positions for the current year as of the end of the restricted free agent signing period on April 20th, or B, the amount of the required tender for a non-exclusive franchise player as explained below, which says Article 10, Section 2 of the CBA sets forth the methodology known as the cap percentage average for calculating the required tender for such player. And then there's a paragraph, lengthy one, regarding that. If a club extends a required tender to a non-exclusive franchise player pursuant to this section, the player shall be permitted to negotiate a player contract with any club except that draft choice compensation of 2 first-round draft selections shall be made in the event he signs with a new club. The signed period for franchise players begins at 4 p.m. Eastern, March 14th, and ends on Tuesday following the 10th week of the season, November 13th. This year, one player, Le'Veon Bell, was designated an exclusive franchise player. 4 players were designated as non-exclusive franchise players. Those players are DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end, Dallas Cowboys; Ezekiel Ansah, defensive end, Detroit Lions; LaMarcus Joyner, safety, Los Angeles Rams; Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, Miami Dolphins; and Le'Veon Bell, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, a transition player is offered the greater of A, the average of the top 10 prior year salaries at the player's position, which average is calculated using the same methodology used for non-exclusive franchise players, the cap percentage average, or B, 120% of his prior year salary. If a club extends a required tender to a transition player, the player shall be permitted to negotiate a contract with any club subject to his prior club's right of first refusal, except that no draft choice compensation shall be made with respect to such player if his prior club declines to exercise its right of first refusal. The signing period for transition players begins same day, same time, and ends on July 23rd. After July 23rd and until 4 p.m. on the Tuesday following the 10th week, again November 13th, the prior club has exclusive negotiation rights. This year, the following player was designated as a transition player: Kyle Fuller, cornerback of the Chicago Bears. Man, that is a mouthful. Holy crap. So that happened today. And I've never heard of the transition player, so I'm going to assume it's a new thing. The Steelers using the franchise tag for Bell. Oh, my. You guys really, you want to poke the bear, don't you? Patriots pick up wide receiver Britt's contract option for 2018. NFL head coach calls Mayfield over-the-top cocky. Whoop-de-doo. Let's see. Panthers signed their Pro Bowl kicker Gano to a 4-year deal. Good move by them. And sad news, NFL referee Ed Hockley announces his retirement. He's been a referee since, I think, 1990. I mean, my goodness, that is one hell of a tenure. But happy trails, and thanks for everything, Ed Hockley. You were the one referee that I actually trusted in this league. But hey, it is what it is. On to greener pastures. In the IFL, the Indoor Football League, we had a game last week, and that was just the one game. Green Bay Blizzard and the Cedar Rapids Titans. Another close one all the way up until the fourth quarter, and we will talk about that, BJ Hill and I. But the Blizzard were defeated 47-39 by the Titans. Titans get their first win of the season. Only the Storm and the Blizzard have yet to win a game this season. How crazy is that? Now, I realize we're going into week 3 and the Storm had a bye week, but man, that is something. There's only 2 winless teams, and one of them's the Storm. Like, that's insane. So anyway, we will have Connor Hollenbeck and BJ Hill on the show this evening, and that'll be a lot of fun because these guys, they're great. They really are. So I think first up we'll probably have Connor, and then we'll have BJ Hill on second half. But yeah, that was busy weekend. The Combine, it's crazy to me how much I wish I would have paid a bit more attention to the Combine. But again, here's my whole thing about it, folks, and that is that when it comes to the Combine, I look at it as it's that transition, a weekend of getting players from the college level to the pros, when here I spend my whole offseason following players and teams that are doing what a transition league should do, and that is, get players of a younger age ready for the next level. And so to see these guys go out there and have all this spotlight for being weighed, measured, and doing all these drills and stuff in front of the whole wide world, it's to me, it's just like, really? Like, is it necessary? Of course it's necessary. It's the NFL. They had a freaking coin flip to determine the 9th overall pick between the Oakland Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers. And no, it was not a quarter out of someone's pocket, although that would have sufficed. They went and made a coin for this one and only occasion, which I realize they do for Super Bowls too, but okay, that's the frickin' Super Bowl. Work with me here. So they went and made this giant gold coin, the 49ers logo and the Raiders logo on it, had the GMs out there and everything ready to go, and they do this coin flip. 49ers win, they get the 9th overall pick, but my God, like, only in the NFL do you need to have a designated time for the press and the media to watch a coin flip that determines a draft spot, but you have to go and make a coin that was used one time for not to determine who receives the ball in a championship game or the Super Bowl, but for a draft pick, and now it's going to go into the 49ers museum. Like, I don't even know. So that'll do it for the headlines. We are 33 days away from WrestleMania. We got Fastlane coming up this weekend. Stops 2 and 3 on the Fan Show Tour tomorrow night. Kevin Lyman will be returning to the Fan Show, founder of the Warped Tour. Very excited to have him on again. And then Thursday we will have not one but two fantastic guests to get us ready for Week 3 of the Indoor Football League and to see me off for stops 2 and 3 of the Fan Show Tour. So great week of the Fan Show. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We're going to go to a quick commercial break while I bring on my first guest, so don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more of the Fan Show coming up right after this.
This is The Sheet.
Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw that Scott hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns. 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. And only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten.
You could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow. You guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? Just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how does a puddle right outside your house? Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. You're listening to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ciccarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellects, the experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer painting and pressure washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Joining me, making his debut on the F.A.N show, is wide receiver for the Cedar Rapids Titans. It is Connor Hollenbeck. How you doing, Connor?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? I'm glad to be on the show.
Doing good, man. I got to say, I know it was kind of a quiet week in the IFL with just the one game, but, man, you had one hell of a performance. Congratulations and the win.
Thanks. Yeah, we really needed that win and really wanted it, and it felt really good to, coming off the last season to get that win early in the season like this. It boosts our confidence a lot, so really wanted to get that, and we did, so it ended up pretty good.
And that's what you want going into week 3. Like, I've heard from so many players and coaches that you never want to start out 0-2, which seems crazy to me because if you rattle off 2 in a row, you're right back to 500. But, I guess it's a mentality thing. You guys obviously avoiding 0-2. You're 1-1 now, and the only other teams without wins are, oddly enough, the Sioux Falls Storm and then the Green Bay Blizzard. How crazy is that? But when it comes to you guys there in Cedar Rapids, you're under the new direction of Marvin Jones, who, when I talked to him before the season started, he said he was very excited to get the opportunity to coach. It was kind of an itch he needed to scratch, and he wanted to build something that was pretty much from the ground up because it was a team that only won one game last year. What's the mentality been like this season under his direction and going into the season?
We're all on the same page this season. We want that United Bowl. We want to be the team that has the biggest turnaround because we know it can be done. We got new leadership, new direction, and we're all on the same mindset that we want to get a championship and prove to everybody that just because Cedar Rapids had one down year doesn't mean that the program's done. We want to come back even stronger than ever and prove people wrong and ultimately win a championship.
Yeah, and that's a great motivator. I love proving people wrong, and I love when people prove other people wrong. It's very strong motivation. But if you had to say what was different about this team as opposed to like other teams that you've been on, what stands out to you the most going into 2018?
So last year we were obviously 1-15. We had a very talented team. Our offense was second in the league. We had some top receivers in the league, and we were a very raw team, raw talent, and basically all rookies. I think we might have had one veteran on our team last year, and now the difference this year is we got a lot more veterans, and we still have the talent. So once you get all that talent with some guys who know the game now, can teach the younger guys. Even myself, just after last year, I know a lot of stuff that the rookies are going to be thinking, so I know what to tell them and how to help them be the best they can be, and that ultimately helps the team. So I think just having a lot more guys with experience this year rather than last year on that team that I was on.
How does a leadership role kind of get designated around a team that ultimately all has the same goal, which is kind of to get to that next level wherever they see that CFL or NFL, but then also a lot of guys that are there can be very similar ages or kind of a broad variety because you've had guys that have been in the league for a while and then a lot of young newcomers who are looking for that chance to step up to the next level. Is it something that kind of falls on you or that you feel because of your position and how long you've been in the league, you almost need to step into it?
Yeah, it just kind of happens. So we have a good bit of leadership on this team. Basically, at every position, there's that one guy who kind of like when you get a position group meeting, he kind of steps in and tells guys, hey guys, we got to go out there and do this. We got to go out there and do that. And we'll win this game, so it kind of just falls. It kind of just happens. Some guys will step into that role and be the leader if no one else is doing it. But basically it just kind of falls upon us and whoever really steps up.
How much respect is there in that locker room for a guy like Marvin Jones?
Oh, there's a lot of respect. He came in here and, obviously we got that win, so that makes it even better. But he came in here with a great mindset. He got all of us fired up. He got a lot of structure, discipline. So, guys that respect that and want to play for him. So definitely his presence is well known when he steps into the room, and we definitely respect him a lot.
Now, of course, Marvin Jones, storied NFL career, one of the All-Pros, linebacking position, New York Jets, and then he had a brief stint coaching with the Crush last year. But this all still relatively new to him, at least for this league and at this level. So when you see a guy who's got the credentials and is as decorated as he is at the ultimate level, comes in and wants to do coaching, not like a bucket list thing, but just because he genuinely wants to bestow that knowledge onto maybe the next generation. What is it that a person like that says to you that sells you on what they're wanting to do with that team?
Yeah, they're all about getting guys to the next level too, and that's why a lot of us play this game still, because we still have that itch and want to get to the next level, whether it's the CFL or NFL. So he comes in, he says, guys, you have a good game, we're going to send your film out. So that really motivates us right there to, do all the little things right, because, when those pro scouts are watching that film, they take a look at everything. So if we all as individuals do our job to the best of our ability and, don't give up, we'll not only win the game, but we'll get a chance to move up levels. So I think that's a big thing that he does that motivates us.
So how long have you been in the league, and how long altogether have you been playing ball for?
So last year was my first year in the league, and I enjoyed it so much I was ready to come back. And, I got a couple scouts who were talking to me and telling me what I needed to do this year to, possibly move up. So that really motivated me. And, I've been playing football since I was 7 years old. I haven't taken a season off. So I just really love this game. No matter where I'm playing, I'm just going to, give it my all and be grateful that I'm still playing.
Oh, that's quite the tenure there since 7. I know a few guys that started as late as like junior year, and then a couple since like diapers. But it's
I know a couple guys who started in high school too, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I always love a good origin story. And for you, what do you think, if you weren't playing ball, what was maybe another option for Connor Hollenbeck, and what does life hold for you after football, if you've given it any thought?
Yep, so I got my degree from Edinburgh University in communications. So, I've actually worked at some radio stations, some TV stations. I'm working for a local Cedar Rapids TV station right now, actually. So that's definitely big in my life. I like TV and, whether it's being on TV or, producing TV. So that's one option I have after football. And I'm also a personal trainer. So, once football's done, I'll still be lifting weights and, being athletic. So that's a huge part of my life. And I wouldn't know what I would do without sports and stuff. So I think personal training will really fill that void once football's done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you guys definitely have a good end for that, because you know what it takes to keep your body at peak performance level. And it's, something like myself, it's just like, man, if I could just be a professional badass in the weight room all day, I'd have it made. So
yeah, it's pretty fun. So
did you participate in the combine when you were younger?
No, I actually so I went to a D2 school, and there was a lot of pro days around our conference. A couple schools had some pro days, but I never was invited and never went to a pro day. But I always knew that I wanted to play at the next level. So, I made my highlight tape, and that ended up getting me an invite to camp with the Cedar Rapids Titans. So I'm definitely grateful for that, and have things things might have been different if I went to a combine. I think I really could have impressed a lot of people. But, I'm not going to dwell on the past. I'm going to be grateful for the opportunity I got, and I'm going to make the most of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I bring it up is because obviously the combine happened, and it's always at the beginning of the IFL season, which, I have mixed feelings about the combine even before I started covering indoor football. It's just one of those things where you're putting these young, talented players on display in front of the whole world, and they're being weighed, measured, and doing all these different drills and everything. And I always thought that it was sort of kind of unnecessary and a bit over the top, that this is where what you do before that next step. Obviously there's the draft, but before that next level where you have leagues like the IFL where you guys are out there playing, getting the game down better, even if it's, slightly different, but you're out there working really hard to get back up there. Like, how do you feel about how much focus goes on things like the combine and the draft?
Yeah, so, for me, the combine, you could have all the greatest numbers in the world, but if you can't, play, the combine really doesn't mean anything to me. So I think that's kind of how I stand on the combine. I mean, it definitely shows how athletic people are, but you can be the best athlete in the world and not, know your technique or, have the skills to play football. So that's how I feel about that. And then the focus on that and the draft. I mean, the good thing about the IFL is we play in the spring. So if the NFL or CFL ever need someone, they definitely are looking at us. And if we were to be playing in the fall, it would be kind of different if we were playing in the fall, because that's during their season. So, I'm kind of glad that I kind of like playing in like their off season, right before the NFL and CFL camps start.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up, I talked about it at the top of the show with the headlines. Shaq Griffin, obviously a huge story out of the combine. Don't know how much you followed of it, but he's got one hand. And I got into an argument with a guy on social media before he had his performance, saying that you can't measure drive, passion, and heart. And those things, I think, matter more than like your height, weight, and how fast you can run a 40. And here comes Shaq Griffin, has one of the best performances with one hand. Did he shatter what it is that we expect out of the combine, or reinforce it with his performance?
I think he definitely broke the barriers with the combine. I mean, I saw him out there, doing the linebacker drills, catching the ball, and he's only got one hand, and I didn't even see him drop one. So he's definitely breaking the barrier for the combine and running the fastest 40 time of a linebacker. So people might see him with just one hand, but they don't realize how much he makes up for it and can still be such a great football player.
Yeah, I mean, life's about overcoming obstacles. Anybody that had their road carved out and got hurt, and now they find themselves at this league or another, it's about overcoming those and what you do with that second chance. And I think he's shown just how much people can do given the chance to overcome great obstacles like that. So good words on that. I appreciate your feedback. But back on topic, you guys take on Sioux Falls Storm for week 3. It is the last game of the weekend. And crazy as it sounds, what would it be like to go into Sioux Falls and put them at 0-2 to start the season?
Yeah, so it's their home opener, I believe. So there's definitely going to be a lot of people there. Going to be a sold-out crowd probably. So it's going to be, a crazy environment. I think it'll get us, kind of hyped up, especially the vets. The rookies might have a little bit of might be a little bit nervous, but that's all right. And, I think that will make us go out and play better. We have something to prove, and having them starting off 0-2 will, kill their spirits kind of, and, boost ours. So looking forward, that's all we're thinking about is winning from here on out. Only having that one loss.
Yeah, it's definitely one game at a time mentality right now. You guys 1-1 going into Sioux Falls. That is the perfect storm. In all honesty, Marvin Jones is probably licking his chops thinking about this matchup coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, hey man, you got a great setup there, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. I will see you later on this season. Of course, can't wait to hang out with Marvin again. But wish you a great season and keep playing doing your thing, man. You're having off to a great start already, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings you.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it, and I definitely will, keep things going.
All right, man. Well, you take care of yourself. Don't work too hard, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. That was Connor Hollenbeck of the Cedar Rapids Titans. They are taking on Sioux Falls Storm this weekend, March 12th at 6:05 p.m. Central Time, which I believe that is a Monday night game. Get out of here. I said the weekend. Well, Monday Night Football is back, and it is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we've got one more guest for you this evening before we put a bow on this Tuesday edition of the Fan Show. Great week, great start to the episode so far, and my next segment is pre-recorded. So, pending power outage, this episode should be pretty good. Should finish strong, and we will be back with that finish right after this commercial. Don't go anywhere. We've got more of the Fan Show after this. You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazzisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. That was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo. Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again. So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right? Yeah. And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is the current leader for all-purpose yards in the 2018 IFL season at 234, and he was number 6 on the IFL all-time top 10 players. It is Green Bay's own BJ Hill. Welcome to the program, BJ. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
Doing great, man. It's an honor and a privilege to meet you. Some of you guys are a tough rundown, but I knew when I saw that you were coming back, had to get you on because you've had such an impact in the indoor game. What is it that you love so much about the indoor game?
What I love the most about it is the fan interaction. You really get a chance to, be involved with the fans, and the kids are right there, close up and personal. And so they really get a chance to really see the face and really get to touch us. So that's probably the best part about it is just the interaction with the fans.
So you're an IFL Hall of Fame inductee, class of 2015. Of course, the big question for any guy that comes out of retirement, what was it that made you finally decide, I'm going to put the cleats back on and we're going to do this thing one more time?
Yeah. I've gotten that question quite a few, actually. For me, it was more of a question of why not? I can still play. And that was the conversation I had with the owners of the team is because they were wondering the same thing. What do you want to come back and coach? You want to come back and play? I'm like, why not come back and play? I can still play. So, when I retired, I was playing rugby for quite a bit, and I still plan on doing so after I'm done. But that kept me in pretty good shape. And rugby's very similar to football, just without pads. So, we usually have our playoff system in the springtime, and they decided to do a switch. And so my springtime opened up, and I'm like, hey, why not put the cleats and the shoulder pads and helmet back on?
So what was the initial thought process for retiring it to begin with? Because I just got done talking to Tyler Knight, about a month ago when he announced his official retirement. I said, what's to make us think he won't come back? Like, why now? You still got what looks like plenty of tread left on the tires. So what made you decide to initially go into retirement when you did?
Yeah. Well, for me, my goal was never to be what I would call a career indoor football player. I didn't want to spend 10 years playing indoor football. And no disrespect to anybody who's done that, but my goal was always to get my film, dominate, and get out. That was always the goal from day one that I stepped on the indoor football field. So, I did a good job of doing that. I got an opportunity to work out for the Packers actually after I retired, and then that next spring I was in rookie minicamp with the Dolphins, and that's the goal. I mean, it's to have that stepping stone to get your film and continue playing ball at a high level, show what you can do, and hopefully get that shot at the higher levels.
So it really wasn't so much of like you didn't feel like you had enough left in the tank. It was just like, this isn't my permanent plays. I want other things, so I might as well focus on that. Yeah, and that's admirable. I respect that. It's always been fascinating to me to talk to guys that play at this level because I believe it's an overlooked resource for the next level. I think the NCAA has kind of too much of a stranglehold on pro sports, especially the NFL, because it's like it's there and then the next level there is no in between, except for that's what the indoor leagues are. It is that nice in between. You guys are staying active, you're staying healthy, You're getting filmed. You're not on your couch waiting for a phone to ring like so many other free agent stories we hear about. So I like that you decided that you wanted to put more focus into that. But you're back now, Hall of Famer, out, active on the field. Why Green Bay?
It's where I've stayed. I mean, this is home for me. I've got my family here. Green Bay's always been a great organization. They've always treated me well. And, I also have a full-time job here too as well. I have clients that I train on a daily basis. And so it'd be really hard to pick up and go somewhere else. And, for what reason? For me, it was more of a no-brainer.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about this season so far. We're going into what is week 3. And you guys will have a matchup that I'll be there for. I get to see you guys for the first time this season in Nebraska. Excited for that. But this team, I personally had high hopes for the team because I got to know Coach Chris Williams so well last year and a lot of the squad. And then there was some turnover, but every team has had their own respective turnover from last season to this season. But you guys, I've watched the first 2 games against Iowa and Cedar Rapids, and those first 3 quarters are solid. Your defense is making plays, making stops, and then the offense is getting into a rhythm. But there's something going on in that fourth quarter. From your perspective, like what do you think is either not clicking in the fourth quarter or is something that needs to be addressed before this next matchup with Nebraska?
Yeah, that's definitely something we have to go back to the drawing board and figure out and see, okay, well, what's happening in the fourth quarter where we're having so many breakdowns? We try to communicate as much as possible, and in between, when the offense is on the field, it could be making more adjustments. It could be not making enough, and that'll be something that we'll have to sit down with the coaching staff and say, hey, well, let's figure out the best way to put us in a good position to be able to finish these games out. So I'm sure that's in the workings for this week.
Now, you're a DB as well as a kick returner for the Green Bay Blizzard this season, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you got Adam Shackelford's offense coming into Nebraska. So does that kind of a matchup, knowing that it's probably going to be a lot of aired-out spread offense, excite you, or is it kind of like, oh, man, I really got my work cut out for me this week?
I guess it's kind of both, right? Because you want the opportunities to create turnovers, and those teams that like to air it out will give you those opportunities. At the same time, you understand that it's going to be a task too as well. You're going to be, especially for guys who are, on multiple teams, whether it be kickoff return, and defense. It's going to be a long game because you're going to be running. So it is a challenge, but it's one that we welcome.
Yeah, and I always do love a challenge myself. So when it comes to Coach Williams, every one of you guys that I've talked to, same response. He's a player. Or he's a coach of the players. He's a player's coach. And I get that vibe from him every time I talk to him. He's always really down to earth and always willing to have a conversation. What's the one thing that you like most about Coach Williams in Green Bay?
For me, there's always that comparison, right, to what you've had in the past. And I've had a couple of different coaching regimes here in Green Bay. And I would agree with what everybody else said. He is a player's coach. He's pretty down to earth. You can approach him about anything, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. He's one of those guys that has exactly, my mindset coming into the league was, getting guys moved up. And that's exactly his mindset. and I love that about him. You know, he wants to use this league as a stepping stone, as it should be. And, you know, the more guys that can get workouts and get moved up, the better. So, you know, him and I have the same mindset when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, and I've talked on the show before the season got started and then after the first week about how each one of the teams in the league kind of has its own allure. Green Bay has that location, right? You guys are right there across from where the Packers practice, and you guys get all those scouts and all those looks up there. Iowa has this long storied history. It's got a Hall of Famer now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame named Kurt Warner. Nebraska Danger is kind of, you know, one of those teams that is been there, has been really close and very close to the edge to making it over that next hump. The Sioux Falls Storm and their championship history, the Rattlers with what they've done in the different leagues, and then of course the Titans with Marvin Jones there now and the opportunity to build something from the ground up. When you make a choice to join a team in a league like this, what is it that probably stands out to you the most as far as something being attractive to go and join that team?
If I'm team shopping, for me personally, which organization has gotten the most guys opportunities? You know, point blank period. That should be every guy's goal coming into this thing, is who gives me the best shot to move up. You know, I've preached to the guys that are on the team. I hope that none of them are here come week 8, because everyone's gotten an opportunity and everyone's going to minicamp. And obviously that's not realistic, but that's the goal. Like that is the goal, is to get the opportunity to showcase your talent at the next level and hopefully get a chance to move up. So for me, you know, if I'm shopping around for teams and I'm looking at, you know, who's the best fit, nothing else matters to me other than, you know, is this the best fit to be able to make it to the next level?
So for you then, obviously the big question now, you're Hall of Fame inductee, you're out of retirement, and then you have this great relationship with Green Bay. It's a whole facility and franchise, and then of course the fans there. But for you, you know, it's a new year and a new outlook. Is this sort of, you know, you want the championship with this season, or is it still trying to get to that next level? Like, what's next for BJ Hill at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that at my age, the NFL is not looking toward guys like me. So, you know, a championship would definitely be the next step, is, you know, trying to, because we haven't had one here in Green Bay in quite some time. You know, Sioux Falls has kind of taken away with this thing, and Arizona took it last year. But definitely is, you know, a championship underneath my belt will be pretty sweet.
Where did you think you should rank on the all IFL?
Good question. Good question. Kind of put me on the spot. You know, I leave those kind of things up to the voters. You know, I've always prided myself on being kind of a jack of all trades, being a guy that you can count on. And so I would like to think that my versatility would weigh in on when people are voting on those kind of things. But again, I try to leave that stuff, you know, to the, I guess, the quote unquote experts or the fans, whoever does the voting. So I don't get into all that.
That is such a player's response. I love it. You are just like Coach Williams. He gives the best coach responses ever. But I'm going to catch you guys at one point or another with an honest answer, and it's not going to get you into any trouble. It's just going to be like, I want honesty and I want a good quote I can have here on the show. But hey,
yeah.
You know, you're in the right place. I do love Green Bay. My only time there, I could see what the allure is as far as like the people, the players, the fans especially. It's a very homey feeling, especially in that kind of environment where football is pretty much life there. So it's good to know
Absolutely.
that when you're in something like this, like the Indoor Football League, that even if you retire, obviously you can come back if you feel like you can, but you've got a place to go coaching-wise or maybe assisting, whatever the case is. So depending on how this season finishes, do you see yourself being a coach? Like, what's life after football at this level or the next for BJ Hill?
Yeah, I've dabbled in some coaching locally here, some different high schools, and we'll see. I don't know as of now. I can see myself putting on a hat and a headset and coaching. Just not sure at what level I'd like to do it at. So that's not a door that I'm closing, but I'm definitely not opening it right now.
Fair enough. Well, I get to visit you guys in Nebraska this weekend, and I will be in Green Bay making a highly anticipated return for May 5th, your guys' Star Wars night. So I expect some fireworks and show there. Now, the rumor is that Markel Willis might be joining me for that game, and I was told I have to dress up by your guys' front office guy, Ryan. So I said, Markel, if you come with me, man, you got to dress up too. Like, that's the deal here. So I'm going to try to convince him, but I think he would make a great Chewbacca. I don't know about you.
Yeah, hey, when in Rome, right? I mean, why not?
All right, BJ. Well, hey, I can't thank you enough for making your debut on the show. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. Very excited to come see you guys play in person this weekend. But safe travels, especially, and best of luck this season. And I'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
And once again, that was BJ Hill of the Green Bay Blizzard. Always fun getting to know these players. Obviously he's been around for a while, Hall of Famer. But it's always a different experience and a fun one on the show. I can't wait to see the guys this weekend. But we've got plenty more of the Fan Show this week. As I mentioned, tomorrow night, Kevin Lyman, founder of the Warped Tour, will join me. We'll talk about his thoughts on the final Warped Tour and what the future holds for all things punk rock. Maybe another Warped Rewind at sea. I don't know. We'll ask him. If you have questions for Kevin, feel free to tweet him at me at FanShowOfficial, which is the Twitter that you should be following anyway. Official Twitter of the Fan Show. It is at FanShowOfficial. And then, of course, like me on Facebook, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. The Instagram is The Fan Show, and then Snapchat is The Fan Show as well. And my apologies. I really do take a lot of pictures of my cats and my pets. But it's too fun, and I just can't not annoy them with filters and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun also. But tomorrow night, brand new episode. Thursday night, brand new episode. If you missed any of tonight's, well, I feel bad for you. But it's okay, because there's plenty more ways to listen to The Fan Show at your leisure. iTunes, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio are the podcast forms. You can also catch replays on YouTube if you are the kind that can listen to YouTube. I know I used to do it all the time. That's also the home of all the videos that The Fan Show ever does, including exclusive post-game, pre-game interviews with some of the players from around the IFL and the events that I have attended and covered. So it's a great spot to hit up. Go and hit the subscribe button so you're never out of the loop on there. I'll have plenty more video from my stops this weekend, so it's definitely something that you're going to want to subscribe to and follow and enjoy. That is YouTube, and that is The Fan Show. I think it's Fan Show Official for the YouTube. Anyway, you can find the links all over the place. The Facebook page, the Twitter, all that good stuff. Replays of the show can be heard on WBLZ Sports, and you can catch this show and so many other great football nonsense and everything else shows on WBLZ Sports. So go download the app. Replays are the day after, so this episode will replay tomorrow at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. And the archives for all of the Fan Show's episodes are on Spreaker.com and thefanshow.com, your home base for all things football and nonsense. A little slow on the website right now, but of course it is tour season, and I will upload and update things as I can, as they happen. But I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you to my guests, BJ Hill, Connor Hollenbeck. Tomorrow night, Kevin Lyman, same Fan Show time, same Fan Show place. I think I've covered everything. Big shout out once again to Undisputed Belts for making the new Fan Show Tour 2018 belt. It looks so beautiful. Really does. So if you need a custom belt made for anything and everything, hit up UndisputedBelts.com. Tell them I sent you. They might cut you a deal. They might say, oh, you saw it because of the Fan Show? Yeah, let's do something here. Also, teespring.com/The Fan Show if you want to buy some of my merchandise. T-shirts, hoodies. Ariel, of one of the big fans of the Green Bay Blizzard, she just got a hoodie. Looks great. So go and do it. 10% of all purchases donated to the Humane Society. So get some great merch. Support the tour and also support a great cause. It's what we do here at The Fan Show. So that's it for tonight. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners. And remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.